This is the VIVO Z5, and this very well could be the best budget phone out there at the moment. It ticks all the boxes. It gives us everything we could ever ask for in a budget phone at a price that is pretty much cheaper than most of the competition. This model goes for 1598 RMB in China. You can buy more expensive options if you want more memory, but for that price, it gives us a lot of specs. So let's get it open. So that price puts it in maybe the budget category, but if you look at the specs, it's sort of mid-range. So that's why I'm so interested in the VIVO Z5. You get the normal jelly case, but this one's a little bit more rigid than the normal ones, so I'm a big fan of that. And on the inside, it's a little bit stickier as well, so I like this more than the normal jelly cases. Another great feature of this phone, and a lot of people are going to like this, is it's got 22.5 watt fast charging. That's really good for a phone this price, and it definitely is quicker than the competition. Good job Vivo on the design of this phone. I'm really liking it. You get a Snapdragon 712 in this one. That's a little upgrade from the 710, 4,500 milliamp hour battery. All in all, you get a lot of specs for your money in the VIVO Z5. This is a really, really great design. I really like that color. They do purple as well, but that color is really, really nice. It's a really good looking phone. It's actually quite surprising. I've not seen this type of color display on a lot of other phones. You think it maybe looks a little bit like the P30 Pro from Huawei. They're doing this more and more now, but oh man, I really like that. It's sort of blue, got a little bit of purple on the bottom, which stays there. It goes whiter towards the top, but that is a really good looking back, really unique. I am liking this so far. I must say, Vivo design doesn't usually take me that much. I usually prefer a lot of other manufacturers' design, but this is a really good looking back. Let's just put it up next to the Honor 9X, which is in this category too, and it's probably something that I'm going to compare this one to. The Redmi K20, again in this category, a little bit more expensive. I don't know, I really like that color. That is a really, really nice color. Obviously, it's gonna be subjective what you like, but I'm really glad I went for that one. It's good that we get a headphone jack as well on there. And these side bezels, it feels like metal. I don't know if it is or not, but it's a really, really interesting design feature. It's got this like turquoise color on there. And I can't believe how light it feels, considering that this has a big battery. The power button and the volume rockers are on the right hand side there. On the left hand side of the device, you have the SIM card slot. You can put an SD card in this up to 256 gigabytes as well. You also get a button on the left hand side for Jovi, which is Vivo's smart assistant or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter, you're not going to use it anyway. But overall, I really like the design. I like the color that I chose. And overall, it just is a really well put together phone. It's got USB-C charging, which is really good because Vivo hung on to that micro SD far too long. The bottom bezel is a little bit on the larger side, but compared to, for example, the Realme X, which is definitely a competitor to this phone, it's about the same size. You get a water drop notch, so you don't get that fully bezel-less display, but that does help cut down on thickness and weight of the device. From my very quick usage in the unboxing, the OLED screen seems very good and very bright. Absolutely no problems there. First reaction is that the bottom bezel is a little bit on the large side. Now, cheaper phones, you're gonna get this, but even compared to maybe like the CC9 from Xiaomi and very quickly the Redmi K20, yeah, it is a little bit bigger, but to be honest, it's not really a deal breaker for me. I think you get a lot of features in this, and I really don't know how Vivo have made this phone so light, considering it's got a really big 4,500 milliamp hour battery. So I'm guessing maybe the back is plastic and not glass. That would be lighter, and maybe the frame is plastic, although it feels really good and solid like metal. But either way, I like the way that the phone's put together. You get some selfie modes on here. I'm just going to turn this beauty setting down a bit because It's a bit crazy. I like to have it on 0. That's a bit better. I'm exposed a bit better. But you can change a lot of the settings. You can go through a few different colors here. Obviously, you're probably not going to use them that much, but every phone has them. Another thing is that this selfie camera is in that notch, so it's in the middle. I prefer it when it's in the middle. If it's in a notch or if it's in a pop-up, doesn't really matter, but having it in the middle is better than having it off to the side. The front selfie camera is 32 megapixels and it can record up to 1080p video. No stabilization on that one though, so I'm trying to hold the phone as steady as I can. But the back cameras are interesting. The addition of that ultra wide camera is really great at this price point, and it's going to give you so many more options than just having a single camera unit taking images back there. And it looks really good too. Go and check out my Instagram and Twitter if you want to see more information about this phone and some more pictures from this phone compared to some of the competition. You can go into settings and toggle 48 megapixel mode or 12 megapixel mode. You can also record in 4K on this phone in video mode, and you can toggle that down to 720p if you want to save some storage space too. All in all, that's solid specs for the price. Even though that camera is 32 megapixels, which is a lot for a front camera, it doesn't actually seem the sharpest image. I'm guessing that even with 0 beauty modes, it still tries to smooth out your skin a little bit, which looks like it's happened here. But the colors are quite good, and I actually prefer the way my skin tones look compared to Xiaomi devices. I just don't like the way Xiaomi devices make my skin look. This one is a little bit more natural. The great thing about this phone is that you get an ultra wide camera, which at this price point is virtually unheard of. The Xiaomi CC9 has an ultra wide camera, but it is a little bit more expensive than this phone. So let's take a look at that. That's not the sharpest image, if I'm honest. I'm not sure if I'm cropping in too much. It looks a little bit out of focus or a little bit unsharp. So that's not the best. That's on the ultra wide. Going through to the main sensor, that's a 48 megapixel camera. It's in so many phones this year. It looks decent. The top is a little bit overexposed, which again isn't great considering we're in really good lighting, although some camera phones do overexpose that because it's really bright there because I've got the lights. This is 2x zoom, zoomed in from the same distance away, and it's exposed a lot better and it's definitely a lot sharper. So maybe that ultra wide just didn't quite nail the focus on the Marmite. It looked like it actually nailed the focus over here on the tripod rather than the Marmite, which is probably why it looks a little bit out of focus. Colors are good on this one. I like those colors. It's very bright, it's well exposed. This is in dimmer lighting, so actually it looks all right too. This is literally 0 lighting. It's nighttime, there's no lighting whatsoever, so to get anything out of that's pretty cool. And that's the night mode, so the night mode definitely works. It definitely brightens it up, and it's a good effort considering there's literally 0 light when I took that shot. FunTouch OS is definitely different from most other OSs. You have a lot of the options down here at the bottom, which takes a little bit of getting used to, but actually I've used FunTouch quite a few times now, and I really don't mind it. I think it's quite convenient. Once you know where everything is, it really doesn't matter. So you get all your options that usually come from swiping down. You just have notifications up there. Swiping up, you get your options here. It's different, but as I said, once you get used to it, I don't think it's an issue. Vivo phones are usually pretty quick unlocking because they're one of the first to implement that. And this one is decent. It's not the quickest Vivo phone that I've used, but it's okay. Just quickly compare it. 3, 2, 1. Maybe the Vivo there, and again 3, 2, 1. Maybe the Vivo again a little bit quicker. Not going to make too much difference. Alright, there's very little low end. Obviously there's not much bass in it, but it's loud, it's clear, it's absolutely fine. Compared to the competition, very similar. It's just a mono speaker at the bottom, nothing comes out at the top there. This phone though, honestly, when I think of the specs you get the ultra wide camera in addition to an OLED screen and a 712 processor and a bigger battery than the competition, 4,500 milliamp hours. When you look at that and the price for the starting model, $1,598, It looks a really good deal, and I must say it's just a really nice little phone. So first impressions are a really good price to performance ratio in the VIVO Z5, a very good effort from Vivo. If you want to see this up against the competition, then I will be comparing it to those, so stay tuned for that.